Hi, I'm Sloen. In this video I'm going to tell you about how I made the music video for my song Essence of Time that you're hearing in the background. My idea was to shoot the main riff at night with city lights in the background. Now it took me a while to find the spot because where I live there aren't many good locations for a shoot with such a view. And after I did find it, we had to wait a few weeks because of the bad weather. Now on the day of the shoot, this is a bit embarrassing actually. With Serena, the woman behind the camera in all my videos, we arrived on location and waited for about an hour in the car for the night to fall. We had all the gear in the back, so the two lights with their tripods, the two cameras that we use, and the guitar. After dark, we got out, we started setting up everything. I took the guitar and I was like, okay, let me rehearse this real quick. And then I realized I left the capo at home. Can't play the song without the capo. So at this point I was basically ready to give up. So we all have to thank Serena because she just told me, well, let's go get it and come back. Keep in mind that it was already quite late. It was an hour drive and we hadn't had anything to eat that night. But we did it. And when we got back on location, it was pitch dark, it was cold, and it was very windy. I wasn't really dressed for the circumstances. Thankfully, you can't see it in the video, but the more I played, the less I could feel my fingers. And with the wind constantly blowing on my face, I had like a small tear flowing down my cheek for half the song. Not ideal conditions, but we still managed to get, I think, 7 shots of the entire song in about 30 minutes. For the bass, the middle part of the song and the solos, we shot indoors in this very room actually, the same one where we shot all my previous videos. We used a black background. For this video, I wanted it to look like I was on a larger stage. The room is very cramped, so I did my best with the lighting, wider angle shots, and post-production to make it feel like that. I'm curious to know if I succeeded, so please let me know in the comments. The most fun part of the video for me was the hourglass footage, which I shot myself. I actually got this little magnetic hourglass just for the video. I wanted the footage to look somewhat surreal, almost like it was made in 3D, with lights moving around and reflecting on the glass. In the background, I wanted to use a time-lapse of a city to evoke the passage of time. For that, I actually used a time-lapse that I made in 2016 with long exposure shots that showed trails of light from the traffic. I never thought I'd actually use that for anything, so that was pretty cool. Now this is how I actually shot it. I put a black cloth on a stool, placed the hourglass on top and put it right in front of the TV. On the TV I played the 10-second time-lapse on loop and started doing various camera movements using the gimbal and shooting at very high frame rate to allow slow motion. Now the tricky part was to make smooth movements, keep the tiny transparent hourglass in focus all the time, while also making sure I never filmed beyond the edges of the TV. This is what the raw footage looked like. I added a ton of effects in post to get that more abstract look I was going for, and to make it blend with the rest of the video. Now, about the video gear we used. I mounted the Sony RX100 Mark V on a DJI RS3 mini gimbal. The slow motion shots were also done with this camera, but for the main footage we used this camera, an old EOS 700D with a 15mm prime lens. This old camera makes good pictures, but it couldn't autofocus to save its life, so we only use it in manual focus. I really like the raw, visceral feel of handheld footage in manual focus anyway, and actually I asked Serena not to try to steady her hand and to play around with the focus ring when she's shooting. For each of my previous videos, I always acquired some new gear, between the lights, the lenses, the gimbal, but for this one, the hourglass was the only thing I purchased. I guess this technically makes this my cheapest video to date, because accounting for gas, it was less than 30 euros in total. And if you're wondering about Serena, well, she gets a cut from my earnings from the channel, which are currently 0. Now for the editing process. The first thing I did was to sync all the footage with the music, which added up to about 20 tracks in total. Then I color matched the shots across the different cameras and angles, did the creative color grading and effects, then cut and edited the footage, adding the hourglass shots. For those, I played around with the speed and actually played some of them in reverse. The entire editing process took about 4 evenings in total, with only one all-nighter this time. I should mention that I have no prior experience in filmmaking or editing. The videos that you can see on my channel are literally the first ones I've ever made and worked on. The lighting, setup, everything is self-taught. So yeah, you're definitely going to see issues with things like color matching between shots or whatever, but I try to improve with every video. And that's about it. Thanks for sticking with me to the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it and if you'd like me to make more content like this in the future. If there's any specific aspect of my work you'd like me to talk about, feel free to request it. I have a few ideas of my own, so if you guys are up for it, just let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Until next time.